Good morning, boys and girls. It's a new week of e-learning. I hope that you're all doing well and ready to put on your thinking caps and ready to learn some more this week. Do you remember when we were at school and we would have an agenda every morning? Well, I created a little agenda for my little video that I'm doing for you this morning. And as you can see, let's take a peek up here. Our agenda, we're going to be talking about math, and you're going to start learning about time this week, how to tell time. Then I'm going to talk about spelling, and with your spelling words this week, there are contractions, and I think we talked about this a little bit before we had our break, but we're going to review it a little bit today. In your reading, we're starting a new module, and it's called Dare to Dream. And I know I love to dream, as long as they're good dreams, but it's going to talk about being inventors, kind of like you do in STEM. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then I'm going to read a little story for you, and our story over here is called If I Built a School. So I want you to stop and think about, what if you had the chance to build a school? What would you put in it? And then finally, it'll be time to say goodbye, which makes me sad again. So let's first start off with math. And as I said, you're going to be learning how to tell time this week. Well, up here on my shelf, I have a clock. I'm going to bring it down so that you can see it. And clocks, as you can see, have numbers all the way around it, from 1 all the way through 12. And I quickly want to introduce to you, there's two different hands. And I know these don't look like our hands, but that's what we call them on a clock, are the hands of the clock. There's two different ones. There's a long one and there's a short one. And the long one points to the minutes and tells us what time it is in minutes. And the shorthand tells us what time it is based on the hour. It's the hour hand. So hour hand and minute hand. And notice that the shorthand is pointing to exactly to the 10. So when it does that, it tells us what hour it is that we're on right now. So for example, if this is pointing to the 10, it's 10 o'clock. If the shorthand was pointing down here to the 6, it would be 6 o'clock. But in order for it to be 10 or 6 o'clock, our long minute hand always needs to be pointing up to the 12. And that tells us, that basically says o'clock when it's pointing to that. So we have 10 o'clock. If I were to move, look, I'm making time fly. If I were to move it to like this, can you tell me what time that would be? Look what time the hour hand is pointing to. It is pointing to what number? 8. And remember, the minute hand is going straight up and down to the 12, and that means o'clock. So it's 8 o'clock. Let's try one more. This is what you're going to be learning your first day in math, is about how to tell time to the hour. So I'm going to spin it around one more time. And what time do you think it is? Look what hand or what number the hour hand is pointing to. It's pointing to the 5, and the minute hand is going straight up and down on the 12 o'clock. So it's 5 o'clock. So that's just a basic introduction of what you're going to be doing the first day in math. And then next week we'll be learning what these other numbers represent on our clock as well. So that's what you're going to be doing in math today, telling time. It's time for me to put that back up. And now it's time to take a peek at our agenda, and we're moving on to spelling. And you will see in your e-learning packet that we're going to be learning about contractions today. And contractions are a shortcut, if you might say it that way, for writing or saying words. So what I've done is I've created some of your spelling words up here. Notice on our paper, we have I'm, can't, wheel, and it's. let's see how we get to those actual words. Well, the first word is I'm. And I'm comes from I am. So if I said, I am sitting on a bench right now, I could say it that way. But if we want a shortcut, we could take I am, and I moved it over here, I am, and we cross out that A, and we add a little apostrophe friend. It's like a little comma that's up in the air. So it's I apostrophe am, I'm. So instead of saying I am sitting on a bench, you could say I'm sitting on a bench. And it's just a little shortcut of putting those two words together to make it into one word. All right, let's look at our next word, our next contraction. Cannot are the two words that we're going to use for can't. So we have cannot. I brought it over here. We have can, not, and in can't, we're getting rid of the N and the O. Those are going to disappear. Notice over here, that's what we did. And we added that little apostrophe, that little curved line that looks like a comma hanging up in the air. And what happens is wherever we get rid of those letters at is where we put the apostrophe. So if I said, I cannot ride my bike, I could shorten that by squeezing those two words together, and the N and the O pop out, and we add that apostrophe, and it becomes can't. So I could say, I can't ride my bike. But don't let that stop me. I'm going to keep trying and trying and trying. All right, next word, wheel. It's not like the wheel of a bike. I'll show you what it means. We will are the two words that are in wheel. So we have we will, and I brought it over here, we will, and we are going to cross out the W and the I. We're going to pop those out of there, and then we have wheel. And notice where the W and I were at, we then put that apostrophe, that little comma up in the air. So we will becomes wheel. So I could say, we will see each other soon, hopefully. If we don't want to say we will, we can shorten that by popping those two letters out and making it wheel. So we could say, we'll see each other soon. Last one is it's. It has the two words it and is in it. So I showed you over here, I moved them over here, it and is. We are going to get rid of the I in is. We're going to pop it out of there, and then we'll add that little apostrophe. So it is, squeeze out the I, becomes it's. So I could say, it's a beautiful day outside. But if we didn't want to use that contraction, it's, you could say, it is a beautiful day outside. Shortened, it's a beautiful day outside. So that's going to be what your spelling words are this week. They're called contractions. Can you say that? All right. So let's take a peek back at our agenda. I'll bring it back down. And now reading. Reading, you are going to be back in your HMH book again this week. And we are starting a new module. And it's called Dare to Dream. What a great topic to think about and to talk about. And over on this page, your essential question this week is, how can thinking in new ways help solve problems? And I know that's something that Mrs. Tunn does with you every week in STEM. She presents a problem to you and asks you to try and solve that problem. Well, you may have an idea of something that maybe isn't working in your house or in your bedroom and say, why can't this work? And you might think of a new way of doing it. You're dare to dream. You're dreaming of a new way to do it. So, one of your stories, you're going to actually have two little things that you're going to read this week. And the first one is called Kids Are Inventors Too. You're an inventor. Just coming up with something new and different means you're an inventor. Well, there is a man in here called Chester Greenwood. And I'm so excited for you to read this. It's only these 2 pages. And Chester, his ears were cold when he was a little boy. And guess what he invented? Earmuffs. He came up with the idea of creating earmuffs. And you may have a pair at home. You may know somebody that has a pair. So Chester created something that not only helped him, but it helped lots of other people. And it solved a problem. How do we keep our ears warm? Let's make earmuffs and put them on our ears. Okay? Your other story that you're reading this week, I'm super excited for you to read about this, is called, oops, let me get to that first page, sticky pages. It's called Young Frank Architect. What is an architect? Do you know what an architect is? An architect is someone who designs and then helps build new buildings, skyscrapers, homes. This man, or actually it's a young boy in the story, but he grows up and he is known as Frank Lloyd Wright. And he is well known for building these amazing homes and buildings. It's not just like a regular home that you might see. It's actual buildings that have different designs in them, different lines, different rooftops. He was an amazing creator. So I hope that you enjoy that story this week. All right. And before I move on, I forgot to show you this. This is a pillow that I bought to decorate my home before we went on this break from each other. And can you read what it says on the front of it? It says, "Let's stay home." Can you believe I bought that and then we ended up having to stay home? I just thought that was so weird. But let me show you what's on it. Let's. Let's is a contraction. Notice our apostrophe, that's hard to say. Apostrophe friend is here with an S at the end of it. Let's. Do you know the 2 words that let's came from? Let us. So we could say let us, not lettuce, not like what we put on our sandwich. Let us go outside. That sounds so prim and proper. Let us go outside. Do we usually talk like that? Maybe sometimes. But we can shorten that by combining let and us, combining it, pop out that U, hang our apostrophe, and it becomes let's. So we could say, let's go outside. It's just a shorter version of saying let us. Okay? So that's another contraction. I wanted to share that with you. So our story today is called If I Built a School. You can see that's next on our agenda. If I built a school, and I want you to think about if you got to build a school. All right, but before we do that, before we read the story, we've been sitting for a while. You can do one of 2 things. You can either hit the pause button, get up and stretch, go get a drink of water before we listen to our story, or we can do head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And we haven't done that in a while. I'm going to do it sitting down. And we're going to do it regular style first. So if you want to join me, go ahead. Here we go. Ready? Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. All right. Are you ready to do it supersonic speed? Here we go. Ready? Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. All right. I'll let you later do the slow one if you want to, but we're going to go ahead and get to the story. So if you are ready to move on, pull your chair up and let's take a listen to If I Built a School. And guess what? This is an AR book. So please, please, please keep trying to read stories so you can build up your AR points. Our author is Chris Van Dusen. It's a fun name. So look here. Our friend has some different things, ideas that he came up with to build his school. Kind of like what architects do. They draw pictures first and then they build it and test it. So that's what our friend in this story did. And his name is Jack. Our main character is Jack. If I built a school, here we go. Jack, on the playground, said to Miss Jane, "This school is okay, but it's pitifully plain. The builder who built this, I think, should be banned. It's nothing at all like the school I have planned." I hear some rhyming words in there. Jane, plain, banned, planned. I bet you can picture, look at the pictures on this page. What do you think he's going to add to his school? Let's find out. If I built a school, the first thing you'd meet are lots of cute puppies. They'd flock to your feet. But why stop at puppies? Why not a whole zoo? So I'd add a bunch of big animals too. Could you imagine having a zebra and an elephant and a camel and a panda bear in the school? Right off the lobby, to get to your class, I'd set up a system of tubes made of glass. You hop in a pod, press the number, then zoom. In under 10 seconds, you're right at your room. So you pop here, you sit on the couch, and it goes through all these tubes and it whisks you away. Kind of like a roller coaster in a way to your room. How fun would that be? All of the classrooms are built onto towers that sprout from the schoolyard like colorful flowers. And like giant petals that welcome the day, the roofs open up in a similar way. Panels fold back and they let in the sun, which frankly makes being there that much more fun. So notice, all of the classrooms are on a little stand. These are all different classrooms. And look how the rooftop opens up so that we could just look outside if we wanted to. Fun, fun, fun. Now come see your classroom. Isn't it grand? That free-floating platform is where you would stand. And using a stylus, you write in the air. No blackboard, no whiteboard, no, nothing is there. Your words just appear and they magically glow. Don't ask how this works because I don't really know. So look up here, the teacher is using like a pen and she's just writing in the air. And it's showing up. There's no whiteboard, no chalkboard. Pretty fantastic. But you're not the only one floating around. Check out the desks. They don't touch the ground. These are my hover desks. See how they glide? They even have bumpers in case you collide. Kind of like bumper cars at the fair. So they're not touching the ground, they just float around. In my kind of classes, we wouldn't have tests. I'd liven things up with some hologram guests. Here are some samples of what I've been thinking. You might meet a T-Rex or Abraham Lincoln. Could you imagine having a T-Rex in your classroom or the actual Abraham Lincoln? Pretty cool. The library's next. So let's have a look. You won't find your everyday regular book. These books come alive when removed from the racks. They pop up like pop-ups, but pop to the max. And if you're not sure what a book is about, you'll find out quite quickly when something pops out. Notice he's reading Jack and the Beanstalk. And look what pops out of it. Oh my goodness. A beanstalk that goes way up into the sky. Wow. It's off to gym. And this place is so cool. Around it, please note my perimeter pool. The perimeter is what goes around the outside edge of the pool, or outside of the gym, and it's a pool. The pool's a deep oval that everyone likes. You race underwater on submarine bikes. Right there he is. Up there is my tiny trampoline basketball court. It's partly a bounce house and partly a sport. There's also a rock wall, and here's something new. I've added some skydiving wind tunnels too. You guys, look how awesome that would be. Wind tunnel for skydiving, trampoline, rock climbing wall. Maybe we need to talk to Mr. Ten about this. I just heard the lunch bell, so let's go and eat. I'd like you to meet my new robo-chef, Pete. He's 20 feet tall and he spins on a gear. You order your lunch in this microphone right here. You just order whatever you want. And Pete can make anything simple or weird, from PB&J to squid, lightly seared. So take a peek at some of the food that Pete has made. And look, it just pops right out to you in front of your chair. Fantastic. It's now time for recess. Let's head out the door. My playground is awesome. So much to explore. Fly on the zip line way up in the sky, or slide down the twisty slide 3 stories high. And after all that, if you're hot and you're beat, then you can go tubing. Now that would be sweet. Look at that. Look at the lines up that you can ride on up in the sky. Tubing, slides. Now that's a playground. In art, we use sprayers to splash out the paint. Do you think Mrs. Love would let you do that? In music, we're loud, but our teacher's a saint. Look how big that instrument is. And over in science, just one of the features is lab-grown, genetically modified creatures. Look at this creature. The bottom is a fish, and the top is a swan. It's 2 animals combined into one. And look over here, it looks like a goose with maybe a rhinoceros head. Could you imagine an animal like that? That's science. We'll visit new places, travel, explore, because we'll go on field trips galore. My specialty buses will tote us around. They dive underwater, they blast off the ground. And yes, they have wheels like our regular cars, which neatly retract when we rocket to Mars. Retract means goes up inside of it. So their field trip, if Jack was in charge, they would go to the moon. Oh, look, there's some aliens or Martians. My school will amaze you. My school will astound. By far the most fabulous school to be found. Perfectly planned and impeccably clean. On a scale 1 to 10, it's more like 15. And learning is fun in a place that's fun too. If I built a school, that's just what I'd do, said Jack. That's some awesome ideas. If somebody's sitting with you right now, or if not, I want you to stop and think about what was your favorite thing that Jack created in this story. And then maybe you can think about, if I built a school, what's something I would add? So I want you to think about that, okay? Because remember, this week, Dare to Dream. We're starting a new module in reading about being inventors, and you are an inventor. You can create anything that you want. Don't let anything stop you, okay? So, boys and girls, next on our agenda, it says goodbye. So for now, my friends, it's time for me to say goodbye, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. I hope that I get to video chat with you this week or talk to you on the phone or FaceTime. Just let your parents know that you'd love to do that and have them email me. I miss you so much and I'd love to see your face and hear your voices. And just know that if you are able to do a video chat, we're doing show and tell. I want you to bring something that you can show to me and maybe a few other of our friends, okay? But for now, friends, it's so sad I have to say goodbye. But I'm gonna send you a big air hug and I will talk to you the next time through video or video chat, okay? Take care, bye-bye.